New beginnings are usually filled with hope for a future brimming with life-changing potential. That's what young bride Kamal thought as she embarked on a marriage arranged to her to a handsome man from a wealthy family. However, within days of the wedding, the abuse began, ultimately culminating in hours-long torture. Black and Blue Sari chronicles Kamal's story of fear, humiliation, and suffering that eventually led to total and complete forgiveness. And she joins us now on the couch. Kamal, thank you for being so brave to share your story.
Yeah, brave is the word. Thank you.
Now, you say that almost immediately after your marriage, you got a wake-up call because your mother-in-law told you of a set of rules that you were to follow.
That's right. That happened right after the wedding. And the rules were whatever happened in the home stayed in the home. And that from this day forth, my husband was going to be my God. There were many others, but I was already traumatized by the two. And
now, Kamal, in the book, you chronicle how, as a young girl, you have dreams of what your marriage would be like, what your life would be like, what your wedding night would be like, and none of that happened. What did that do to your heart? Because even as, for all of us girls on couch, we have dreams about what the wedding will be like and how our husband will treat us and run his hands through our hair and love us. Yeah. And that didn't happen.
No, and I think, you know, as 18, even younger than that, you know, you dream of how I'm going to walk down the aisle, what I'm going to wear, you know, and how he's going to hold my hands and smile. None. In fact, the wedding night I was raped. And I thought, do I just go upstairs where my parents were living? Do I just go? Did we make a huge mistake? But nobody talks about rape.
Well, you really didn't even know your new husband because you had 10 days after your meeting him, you had the civil ceremony, and then just a few days later you had the official traditional ceremony.
Right.
And that's really when you spoke to him for the first time.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk even on the wedding night. You know, we talked, I think it was after his parents left, where we actually started to kind of, oh, that's what he smells like, you know, kind of thing. And we were very sheltered. When his parents were around, I had to leave. When his father came, I had to quickly cover my head. And I'm thinking to myself, but respect doesn't come from covering, it comes from within. And so everything that my parents had taught me.
In a loving marriage, by the way.
Yeah, it's nothing's, you know, right here. And before I could think, you know, other developments happened.
So tell me, you know, kind of the levels of wake-up call, because obviously there's the rape on your wedding night, and you were viciously torn. You had to go to the hospital.
That's right.
How did it develop? Because it started small and then it grew and grew and grew and grew.
Like any abuse, you know, you see, oh, it escalated. You'll hear women say, oh, the cycle, you know, the mental, the verbal, then the physical, then all that. Same thing. It was all of that, and then it got to physical within weeks when I had asked him not to drink and drive. And for that, he taught me a lesson where he hit me so hard that I fell and hit my head, came down and realized that he had broken my nose.
And I think that when you did reach out for real help from the police, you signed your future off to daily abuse. That was it.
That's right. That came within 2-3 years. When that happened, he thought, okay.
He spent a weekend in jail.
Yes, he did. And he came out, bribed my parents, sweet talked them into saying, your daughter's the one that needs help. I love her so much, but. And then he took me home and said, so, you got me arrested. Now your prison's coming.
Wow. Kamal, is it a cultural mindset, or was he, your husband, abused as well when he was young? How does this happen?
You know, abuse is never cultural, although certain components of it are where we're not encouraged to go out and seek help or talk about it. But abuse isn't at all, you know, a cultural thing. I don't know his background much. I knew they came from a very, very wealthy, spoiled family. But everybody in the family had issues.
Anger issues.
Anger
and involvement with witchcraft, we've just learned.
Oh, yeah,
I
big
think that's a
time,
big
yeah.
clue
Yes,
to
yeah.
the rage.
Yeah, anytime something happened when we had gone back, I'm going fast forward now, when they had taken me back, anything that would happen, my mother-in-law would say, well, I'll take you to this guy. He's really good. He'll tell you your future and he'll fix it. And the guy would put ashes on my head and say to me, wish you well. And I would actually have visitations from the demons. And I would, even when I'm speaking, I speak about how I felt even after my husband died. Cold hands around my neck, choking the life out of me. And I would wake up and wonder, is this the end? Am I done? Am I done?
Now, when you were still with your husband, you felt his cold hands around your neck. I mean, there were so many instances where you came very close to dying, where you even wanted to die. A lot of this happened in front of your children.
Right. For me, the amount of torture that I was enduring weekly, it was a relief to die. I would have welcomed it. I thought, I would hear people say, after a funeral, oh, they're in a better place. I so longed for that better place. And then I would look into the eyes of my 4 children. And I remember when he had taken me to the ocean, when I had to say my goodbyes, I remember how they shut their eyes. I remember when I was coming back to Canada, they begged me to put them in my suitcase. That they'll be good children and not make noise. Those tears, no matter how much, counseling or healed or strong you think you've become, children break you because you love them so much.
Well, tell us that story. So he was taking you out of the car and you had a sense, this is it. This is the last time I'm going to see my children.
Yeah. To set the scene, it was an ocean. He was taking me to an ocean, a very deserted place. No one comes. It's quite a frightening place. And the children were in the back seat, and they were little. They were from 2 years to 6 years. And they had been there before. And this time, I knew it was going to be different because the look of death in his eyes. And so the minute that I had, and I thought, do I beg or do I just go? I was tired. And I thought, okay, I'll struggle a little bit. So I locked the door. He would open it. I locked it. And so we did that for a while. And then he was going to smash the window. And I knew if he did, the children would be hurt. So I got out, waved to the children.
So you knew that he was going to kill you?
Yeah. And I was somewhat prepared. I don't know how you really prepare yourself, but I was tired of being hung. I was tired of being burnt. I was tired of being starved. I was tired of being raped. I was tired of being his wife.
But there was another voice in the tumult of this moment.
When that voice came as I was just about to let go.
Now take us to that, because you were screaming. You were in the water and he was going to kill you.